Alright bro, in this video I'm going to tell you how I managed to become more confident with girls. Since the ages of about 12, 13, up until I was about 18, I was so awkward and nervous around women. I've got so many stories to tell you, like, I'm not even joking. There was a girl that I had a crush on for 6 years, and it took me 6 years to actually bulk up the courage to tell her. Now obviously I was 6 years too late. I've had my fair share of rejections in life. I'm 24 now, and pretty much the years of 18 till about maybe 22 were pretty much my defining years that really changed me as a man to actually attract women. And I'm going to share those lessons with you now that helped me so much. And I went from somebody who, like I said, I'll put photos up on the screen, and I went from somebody who was skinny, nervous, unattractive, and I was getting rejected pretty much by every single girl I showed any sort of attention to then somebody who is now in my first relationship, and I've had my fair share of sexual experiences with women in the past. Now, by all means, I am not some sort of dating guru. I'm not some know-it-all, and I know there's so much out there that I still will learn in the future, but I'm just telling you stuff that helped, that worked for me, and these are things that I hope that anyone who's watching this, it can help you in the future, and it can massively grow your progress in actually attracting your future wife. Because this is something that your mum and your dad never told you whenever you were younger, that dating and the whole thing about attracting women is just one big game. Once you understand the game and you understand how to play it, you will win. Whenever I was young and I was getting rejected by women all the time, left, right and center, I've had moments with girls where I was seeing girls for 2-3 months and I still never kissed them, still never went anywhere with them, and they were just dragging me along like a dog on a leash. I genuinely have had some very embarrassing moments with women where I was chasing and putting so much time and effort into them, and they were just giving me very, very, very little. They were almost giving me breadcrumb trails behind. Looking back at it now, of course I do things differently, but one of the things that I did that really changed the game for me was working out. If you're a young man who hasn't hit the gym yet, that's the first thing you gotta do. And not just hitting the gym, but you actually have to put on a lot of size. If you're somebody who's fat and you're overweight, you know you're fat and you're overweight. So, like, obviously get into the gym and lose that. Go into a calorie deficit where you're pretty much eating 200-300 calories below your body weight. And if you're somebody who's a skinny, really skinny, scrawny kid, 200-300 calories over your body weight. So weigh yourself and estimate what that is in calories, and then eat 200-300 calories above that. And keep doing that over and over and over again until you start seeing yourself putting on some serious size. I'll show you pictures of what I looked like whenever I was younger compared to what I look like now in terms of my overall frame. Yes, to be fair, I don't have a lot of muscle definition, and that is because I sort of dirty bulked a lot, but still, even just putting on a big frame compared to who I was, a lot of girls who knew me whenever I was a skinny kid, and they now see me now whenever I've put a lot of size on my frame, they treat me completely different. And I've had experiences where women have seen that and actually have been attracted to me just simply by that. And one of the other things that really helped me a lot when it came to attracting women, and this helped me whenever I actually lost my virginity. Like, I was a virgin until I was about 20 years old, and there's nothing wrong with that, but like, again, whenever you're sort of in whenever you're in school and whenever you're in college and stuff like that there, and you're surrounded by other men, it sort of becomes like a competition almost. Like, you know, it can be very ruthless. Like, there's a lot of men like who lost their virginity whenever they're 16, and you know, they may be more experienced with girls and they're talking about it amongst their classmates or whoever's, you know, in your class, and you sort of feel like you're the odd one out because you're still a virgin and you're too embarrassed to say it. And I bet you some people have had that experience where some guy who has had all the women in the country and he's talking about his 65th girlfriend, and you're sitting beside him still a virgin, and you fap 25 times a day. It can be very, very embarrassing, so it can be put in those scenarios. One of the things that helped me a lot alongside going to the gym and bulking up was actually going on nights out. Now, I understand that we live in a world now where, in terms of self-improvement, people tell you to not be a degenerate and go out and party. That's okay, because those people who tell you to do that, they've already experienced that. Whereas if you're some sort of 17, 18-year-old kid who spends all day indoors, it doesn't matter what you're doing in your house, but you have no real life experience, you need to go out there. And yes, sometimes you do need to go out to the party and the disco and stuff like that there, because you need to see it firsthand how women act. And the minute I started going on nights out, bro, like especially nightclubs, it was like some sort of weird reality. Like, I remember one time I went to my first disco, right? And here's me, you know, innocent Charlie, not knowing what the hell's going on with women. And I start going into the disco. I go into the disco for the first time ever, and what do I see? These little private booths in these discos, and it's just people kissing. It's just 4 or 5 people all just sucking the face off each other. And I'm very surprised. I'm pretty sure there was one time I seen somebody actually banging somebody. Like, this was, I thought I stepped inside of a I generally thought I stepped inside of a porn shoot. Like, this was weird as hell. It was just all these absolutely horny people salivating at the mouth, just trying to get as much women as possible. It was mental. And that's the reality of pretty much every nightclub now. That's all it is. It's just everybody just trying to get with everybody. And if you're somebody who like has no experience with women, and you put yourself in that environment, after a few months of going out regularly, you will start to learn and pick up on a lot of things. Especially if you do go with a friend who has a lot more experience with women. Like, you will grow very, very, very fast just simply doing that. And I know this advice is sort of like this is very anticlimactic sort of advice, because, you know, it's not really stimulating you right now, but honest to God, the best advice, bro, you need whenever you're somebody who's 17, 18 and you're a virgin is you need to start going out more, way more, out to nightclubs and stuff like that there. Because, like, I was genuinely one of them people, like I said, who was so nervous and not confident around women. And I went with a friend who was the exact opposite. He was less, like, I'm not gonna lie, right? In terms of looks, I was a better looking person than him, but he had way more confidence than me. And he was the one who had far more success with girls out and nights out than I ever did. Like, there were so many times he would just randomly sit on at a table with a few girls, and within 5 minutes he was getting stuck into one of them. And I learned so much off him in such a short amount of time. So if you do have a friend who's like that, message him and say and arrange to go on a night out with him, and make that a regular thing. And one of the other things that really changed the game for me is, whenever you put yourself in these situations, whenever you start going out with these people that actually have a lot more experience than you when it comes to actually dating and getting girls, you then are put in situations yourself where you could, like I said, easily lose your virginity, or you could attract, or you could basically hook up with a girl, because they put you in those situations, if you know what I mean. Like, I've had so many experiences, bro, where girls have been back in our hotel rooms, and he's the one who pretty much did all the work, and all I had to do was just simply show a bit of confidence. And I sometimes crap myself, and I've had a lot of stories where I've literally had some like beautiful women in hotel rooms with me and that I could have easily got with, but because I've been too nervous, I take too long to actually make an initial approach, and they end up leaving all annoyed. I cannot tell you how many stories I have about that, and I will tell them if you do want me to share that with you. I remember specifically one time in my life where I had a moment like that, where we were out in Belfast. I'm from Northern Ireland, but we went to Belfast and on a night out one time. It was the first ever time in Belfast, and we ended up bumping into these 2 girls. This is during COVID, right? And we bumped into these 2 girls who were trying to get into a club, and it took us 3 hours. Me and my mate were sitting outside for 3 hours, and they were sort of they were standing in front of us, but they were sort of listening into our conversation throughout the whole night. Throughout, like, simply those 3 hours, they ended up talking to us, and obviously they were attracted to us, and me and him knew exactly what was going on, because, like I said, I started to get a lot more experience at that time, but I still was a virgin, right? And these 2 girls were, like I said, these were very, very good looking women, right? These were like 9s out of 10s, and we end up talking to them and stuff. We end up flirting with them, and, you know, I end up saying, we both end up sort of like making fun of them and roasting them, which is something that girls do like a lot. Girls like it whenever you do, just like when you do make fun of them, but not in a way where you come across as an asshole. If you can like joke around with a girl, and like that's what we were doing pretty much. And they just absolutely loved this. And we ended up sitting with them at their table whenever we eventually got into the nightclub. We took photos and stuff like that. Now, we actually didn't take photos with them, but I'll try and get a photo of me and my friend in that very nightclub, just to show you proof of this. And we end up taking them back to our flat, we ended up taking them back to our hotel, right? And he ends up taking one of them into the bathroom. He's kissing away, right? And the best looking one out of the 2 is sitting on the bed right beside me. And I'm sitting there, she's on her phone, and like we're talking away, but she's waiting for me to make the move. Obviously, looking back at that, that's what she was doing. And I was so nervous. I just froze up. He then came out of the bathroom with her, and he sort of like pulled me aside and was like, "What the hell are you doing?" You know, I was giving him all these excuses like, "Oh no, I'm not interested, I'm too tired," and stuff like that there. And I wasn't, bro. I was so horny, man. I just wanted to get stuck in with her. But I was too nervous to do it. And he ended up getting really annoyed, and he ended up actually taking her into the bathroom with the other girl, and then they ended up pretty much, all three of them he ended up getting stuck into the two of them. And there's me sitting in the room, like, I felt like such a loser. Sitting in the hotel room with the girl that I genuinely could have got with. She ends up getting stuck into my mate while I'm sitting in the room looking like an absolute loser. And that really set a fire under my stomach. That really sort of angered me in a way. They ended up leaving, and so they did in the end. But that very next week, I made it my mission. I went straight out into the next nightclub, approached a woman, got her Snapchat, got her phone number, and ended up arranging something the next weekend, and I actually lost my virginity that weekend. The lesson I can tell you from that story is that you sort of have to put yourself in those positions where you do feel a bit of shame and guilt that you don't end up taking your opportunity, because it can then light a huge sort of fire under you for you to then just take that sort of aggressive, like male aggression, to go out and actually get it, to go out and actually not experience something like that again. And that's what you need to do if you're a young man who struggles to get with women. You need to basically, like, you need to be rejected. You need to get rejected all the time. You need to have that sort of sense of guilt and shame in yourself, so then you can the next opportunity you get, you will not fail, and you actually go and you show a little bit of dominance for once in your life. And ever since then, bro, like, getting women, like the whole formula of getting women is very easy for me. And I'm simply just going to break it down to you from what I've learned all these years and simplify it, especially from experiences like the one I just told you. Pretty much whenever you're talking to a girl, they will show you 3 signs that they are interested in you, right? Number 1 is they will sit very close to you. If you're sitting beside a girl, right, she will sort of, like, I'm not gonna say invade your privacy, but she will sit very close to you, like to the point where she's like very comfortable sitting close to you, right? Next thing she will do is she will start looking at your lips while you're talking to her. If you're giving her direct eye contact while you're talking, you'll see her slowly start to like glance at your lips a little bit, and that shows that she obviously wants to get stuck in there with you. The third sign is that she will touch you, okay? Now, the whole terms of touching and stuff like that there, right? She will, if you can make her laugh while you're talking to her, she will put her hand on your shoulder, or she'll basically touch you in a way, right? If she shows all 3 of those signs, she's interested in you, right? If she shows all 3 of them, you need to make a move. You need to get stuck in there. If she shows 2 of the 3 signs, she still is interested, and I still would recommend the same thing. If she shows one of those signs, keep talking and see if she shows any of the other 2, right? And simply, bro, if you can just follow that formula on a night out, whenever you're talking to girls, you will pretty much, your game around women and your experience and the things that you will learn and how your results that you will get from that are incredible. You can thank me later, by the way. Actually, you know what? To thank me, subscribe down below, because I'm going to give you a lot more tips like that as well. So, I hope this does help you. Don't waste your time looking back. We're not going that way.